My name is Brynhildur Pálsdóttir and I'm a designer, and we are going to talk about Vik Prjónsdottir, which is a project we were 5 designers who started to work together in 2005, which is now like about 15 years ago, but it feels like yesterday, so it's really funny to think about it. But and this project was kind of my first project after graduation. I did my kind of pre-studies in Reykjavik School of Visual Art, which has like this pre-study program, and actually I was planning to study architecture. That was kind of my first plan, but then this new department, product design, or it was called 3D design, I think, was available, and I applied for that and got in. And me and Guðfinna, partner in Vik, we were in the 2nd class of this study program. And I'm like really happy that I stayed in Iceland and did these studies, because it was kind of, you could feel kind of the energy and power from the teachers and the community, and you could feel that there was something starting. It was a beginning of something. And also you got to learn about the environment here, and we have like, it's a kind of a short distance. You can easily talk to a little factory, or a carpenter, or little companies that make stuff out of metal, and you could feel like it's easy to get kind of into stuff and try things and so on. But I actually went as an exchange student to Amsterdam at the Gerrit Rietveld Academy, and after I finished in Iceland, I went back to Amsterdam and finished my degree at the Rietveld. So, and that was also really important to get the Dutch kind of side of design, and also to get more kind of to know like the big world kind of. And in Iceland, we don't have so much production, and materials are kind of, we don't have forest, and we don't have mining, and so it's kind of like we have to look into our roots, where the material is. And wool is all around us. We have lots of sheep. There are more sheep than people in Iceland, and we have wool production. So we make yarn, and we have knitting factories. So it made kind of like sense to do a project around a little knitting factory in the south coast of Iceland. And one of us knew the owner of the knitting factory very well. And the owner was really kind of open to inviting us into the factory. And that's how it started, the project. And it's called Vik Prjónsdottir. Vik is the village, is called Vik, and Prjónsdottir is a game with our name tradition, that you are daughter and son of somebody, and Prjón means knitting, so it's Vik, the daughter of knitting. We wanted to make new products out of wool, and for the home, and for kind of take it a little bit further, like this knitted sweater that has been kind of like the symbol of Icelandic wool. We wanted to kind of like move forward and make products that would kind of stay with people and kind of become part of their interior and part of their lives, kind of. And somehow blankets became kind of the product that we started to work with, because a blanket is kind of, it's this object that's in between. It's not clothing, and it's not furniture. It's this object that is always with us, And it belongs to, I think, all cultures in the world. Everybody has a blanket. It's kind of like really an object that's really close to us. And we thought also it's nice to tell a story with a blanket. And storytelling became kind of the core in our design process. So we wanted to kind of tell stories, and both new stories and old stories and true stories and not so true stories, but every blanket had a story. And we also wanted to kind of break out from the tradition of using like really natural colors. So we used like really bright and unusual color combinations because we wanted it to feel really modern. Like we wanted to show that wool is a really kind of a modern, it's a nice material, and it shouldn't always be linked to like how it was in the old times. So, but I have one blanket from the collection. So we made 2 collections, one in 2005 and then the other one in 2010. And I have a blanket from the second collection, and it's about the eagle, the sea eagle, and which is the largest bird in Iceland. And a kind of birds in Iceland are our animals. We only have like Arctic fox, and then we have the horses, sheep, and cows. So like the flora of animals is really kind of limited, but we have birds, and birds are really kind of important to our like how we experience time. For example, the birds come and they go, and they tell us spring, it's getting fall. So it's like the birds are the clock kind of, and they are kind of like all around us. And the sea eagle is the biggest bird, and it has like this wingspan that is almost 2.5 meters, which is huge. So we wanted to make a blanket dedicated to the sea eagle. So this blanket is 2.5 meters, exactly as the wingspan of the eagle. And the eagle has like all kinds of it has this myth of being protective. It protects its nest. It's really loyal, and it's like always stays in the same place to make nests and stuff like that. And we thought that would be a beautiful connection to a blanket. So it's like this protection thing that you can wrap around in the eagle's wings and be protected by him. And but yeah, like here we were kind of like traditional in the color combinations, kind of trying to imitate the real eagle and his colors. But this blanket has been like, people that bought it, they have used it as like a bedspread and for the sofa, but then it can't be really kind of a nice coat. If you put a belt on it, then you can like become the eagle and take a walk in winter. Yeah, and then we have the raven, which is a smaller blanket. And the raven is, that's a bird that stays in Iceland. It never leaves. It's just like lives with us. And the raven has like so many stories connected to our culture. It's kind of, it's a super clever bird. So it's more, it's the cleverness of the raven that we were kind of, that's why we chose him. And then we have the swan. And I can't remember if we have, the swan is a bird. Some swans stay in Iceland, but a lot of them come, during the summertime. But the swan is like this, you know, it has like a one partner for life, and it's also this loyal bird, and like this beautiful bird in the landscape. It's really beautiful to see swans in the landscape. It's kind of like this kind of royal thing about the swan. And then we have the king eider, the eider duck. That's the yeah. So that's the three birds we made, like in a smaller version. And the eider is really, the eider bird is kind of like the sheep, because people, we pick the down, not off the bird, but from their nests. And that is something that people have done for ages in Iceland. So it's kind of this beautiful relationship between the animal and humans. They kind of work together. The humans protect the nest of the eider bird, and instead they take the down and make duvets and stuff like that. So the parrot, I forgot about him. That was kind of just about the exoticness of the parrot, because like we wanted to kind of like also step out of this kind of always thinking about the localness, and it's something about being on an island in the north. All the exotic things, they become so kind of desirable. You kind of like need exotic things just to kind of, you know, nourish or something. So the parrot was our exotic bird that we wanted to kind of invite into the wing collection, and also just to get the color and the warmth from the color. So the parrot is like yellow, blue, orange, red. It's really warm kind of wing thing. I don't know. I like, it took us like, I don't know how many tries to get it right. So we made, and actually the museum has all these trials. Like, so in the beginning, we wanted to have like a hole in the middle, so it would be like a poncho kind of thing. We tried the different, you know, the colors, the sizes, and how you kind of put it together. So kind of now when I look at it, I have to say, I'm quite just satisfied, because it also, like, it's really important when you make something from textiles that you think about the cut-offs, that you limit the cut-offs, so you just use every material. And this blanket is exactly like that. It is like you knit like a big, so the width of the knitting machine is the width of the blanket, and then it's kind of like cutting paper, you know. There's nothing that goes to waste, which is, I think, is a huge, really important thing. So, but like, maybe we shouldn't have made it so big. Like, we maybe should have made it like, I don't know, 30 centimeters shorter or something. But we wanted to be like super literal, like, this is the length of the wing. So we wanted to be like exactly 2.5 meters. But yeah, maybe we were too greedy. I don't know. But it is quite nice when you wear it. You can feel the weight of it, and it's like you feel kind of powerful in it. So I think that's also part of the design, to, you know, make you feel like an equal, kind of. Yeah, like when we were working together, it was like a lot of people asked us like, what blanket did you make? Because we were a group. But that was never the case. Everything kind of traveled from, you know, we always were working together and doing the sketches together. So the papers and the sketches just like traveled around. So nobody had like the ownership of one piece or one design. So everything kind of traveled from one mind to another. And I think that's the kind of, looking back, it was kind of like this perfect design process, kind of, like, because you could, when you look at the sketches, they are also kept here in the museum, you can feel how ideas got better after they kind of moved to another person. And I think, like, the most important thing is kind of this dialogue of how ideas kind of mature and get deeper and better, and you try this and you try that, and it's something that happens in a good group work. So that was kind of like the beauty of our working, that we did it together, like completely together. And also in a good dialogue with the factory and the producers and the pattern maker and all the technicians at the knitting factory. So it was like a huge dialogue, just to, so it was like, a good ping pong process. We were 5 in the beginning, and then we became 3. So in the beginning it was Hrafnkell Birgisson. He's also, and he has been doing like focused on working with factories and finding little producers and making products with them. And then there was Egill Kalevi Karlsson. He studied in Eindhoven in Holland, and he's now based in New York, where he works. He has been designing, I think, stereo, like really kind of like technical stereo music stuff and other things. And then it's Þuríður Rós Sigurþórsdóttir. She studied fashion in St. Martin's in London, and also did a master in arts in SVA in New York. And she has been located in New York for many years. And she has been like doing design and art, kind of both things. And then it's Guðfinna Mjöll Magnúsdóttir. We were classmates at the academy here in Iceland, and she has been doing all kinds of projects, and now she is working for the forestry. She did a degree in environmental studies. So yeah, we were all kind of like, we came from different directions and with different sets of tools, kind of, which I think also was really nice and gave this project kind of like a nice aura. But then the boys, they moved on to other things, and us, the girls, stayed on for, I think, 8 years more or something. Yeah, I think so. So now the project is kind of like, it still exists, but we are not actively working on it at the moment, no. It's really kind of, I have to say, it's really kind of satisfying to see something that works, that becomes a product and people use it. And especially with Vik, I always, like, I love it when I see people use our products. We made scarves and smaller items, and you still see them on the street. And that is something that I think, like, you know, I did something good. I made a scarf that people love. And and also just with all the protests, if something like, and also it's part of life. Sometimes things don't work out, and that's fine, you know, that's just how it is. But it is such a satisfying thing when things work out and they go all the way. So that's kind of, that's probably why I'm still doing it. It's like to get this feeling of like it worked and it went out into the world. Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning new things and new techniques and new methods. So I think the things, they kind of like, changed with me as a designer. But I think still there's always this kind of core of I think now I see myself as a kind of a communicator. I'm kind of telling. I think all the things I do is about a story. It's about it has some kind of narrative. It's about it isn't like disconnected from. It's always connected to something, and it's always trying to kind of deliver some message or telling a story or talking about the past or the future. It's always, and I think that's I think that's what I mean, sometimes I think of myself as a storyteller, and I think design is about stories. It's about, communicating something that we want to tell and move on kind of to others. Yeah. I kind of, I still have been focusing on local materials, and I actually moved more into ceramics, and there's I'm part of this research project called Search for Porcelain. So we are kind of working on making Icelandic porcelain. Porcelain is this kind of man-made clay. It's made out of 3 minerals, and porcelain has this huge myth around its existing. Like, we got it from China, and nobody knew what it was and how they made it, and all this mystery alchemy thing started in Europe, and all these stories, and the search for porcelain kind of in the 1700s kind of touched Iceland, because at the time people were kind of studying the geology and looking at Iceland, and there is actually kind of an accidental spot in the west of Iceland where we have a kaolin, which is the main ingredient in porcelain. And so I'm working with a ceramicist and a geologist, and we kind of got inspired by this search for materials and how man has been taking raw material from nature and transforming it into another material. And we were searching for materials to make Icelandic porcelain for 2 years. And it's an ongoing project. And it's always kind of evolving, and we got grants, and we kind of did the basic research and did a chemical analysis on all kinds of materials, and it's kind of like an open source project, so everybody can get the information that we have been gathering. And it's a project that kind of is still moving on, kind of, And then I'm doing all kinds of other things, and now I'm working a lot with architects. We are developing an area in the center of Reykjavik. There's the first hydropower plant. There's a river that runs through the city, and they made a dam in 1921, and that's where the electricity started in Reykjavik, kind of. And so we're working for the energy company to kind of make an exhibition and redeveloping the area around the power plant. So that's kind of like, about the elements, the heat and the electricity and the water and the sewage system. So super fun project. And I kind of decided, as a designer in Iceland, my biggest goal was to kind of use the things that we have here and work with materials that are around us and the production things. So like Vik was one of that project, and then another project that I did with Finna and Sigga here at the museum was the Designers and Farmers project, which was about food design. So yeah, everything that I've been working on has kind of been about being a designer in Iceland and the materials and the possibilities you have here. I would always recommend people try to work together with others, like to do this collaboration, even like maybe not, I mean, with other designers or artists or with some producer or a craftsperson or something. I think this collaborative way of working is always kind of good for people who are starting out, and it's something, it's a good kind of thing to practice how to kind of explain your ideas and your thoughts and have this dialogue with someone else. I think that's really kind of helpful when you're starting out, and I can feel like all this collaborative work I've done has really helped me a lot in developing further, and also makes it easy and natural to work with others. And I think like in the future it's all about, we have to be able to work together and collaborate, you know, do all these collaborative things. And so I'm all for collaborative work together.